Hi, everyone. It's Lynn from Devine Central, and I am back with video number 10 in my series on reading professionally at fairs and festivals. Now, in video number 9, I talked about outfitting your tent or booth on the inside, whether it be indoor or outdoor. In this video, I'm going to make it part 2, but this will only contain just the items needed for an outdoor event. Now, I have two tents. I have my big tent, which is a big white 10 by 10, four-sided tent that I use for street festivals and, wine events. And then I have a smaller tent, an 8 by 8 canopy, no-sided tent that I use for smaller events. Now, when I wanted to do outdoor events, I had this dream tent that I saw in a picture and I wanted so much to have this tent. Well, eventually, one day, I finally went out and started putting together my dream tent. And here's how it turned out. Is that amazing? I mean, did I do a good job there or what? All right. So I will say this. When you are interested in doing outdoor events, you do need to contact the Chamber of Commerce or the event planner, whoever's throwing the festival or the event. And you need to find out if they have any restrictions or any requirements, I should say, on the tents themselves. Because some people require a white tent. So you don't want to go out and buy a pink or purple or, some crazy tent and then find out that you're not welcome at that festival with that tent. And also make sure on sizes so that you understand the size that's needed. All right, so let's get into this. Here is the first tent, my big one. Okay. It is, like I said, 10 by 10. It's from ecanopy.com. And it was $300 and it was free shipping. I will say that it weighs 65 pounds in its roller case. And I can barely wheel it to the car. And I certainly can't put it in the car by myself. And I can't set it up by myself. It takes a second person. So it does have four sides. It's a really nice tent. I have had great luck with it. But again, it's kind of a commitment. If you're going to be doing smaller events, I don't think you need it. So we sold our house, moved into our motorhome, and started traveling. And because of that, size and weight was a commodity for us. I could not bring the tent, and I certainly couldn't bring the weights for the tent. So I left them behind. But of course, as soon as we got to Houston for our first winter, I found an event that I really wanted to do. And so I bought this 8 by 8 canopy from Academy Sports that's in Houston and all over the South. Anyway, it was $50 for the tent. And I picked it up and I was so happy with this thing. The legs do come out, extend out to a 10 by 10 frame or a 10 by 10 footprint. And you know what? It was a very simple, lightweight, much smaller case. I can set it up myself. I don't need anybody's help. And now I think I will probably sell my big tent unless I'm intending on doing like county fairs or someplace where I have to be for a while or a number of days tent, then I can see keeping it. But otherwise, I think the smaller one's going to do me fine now. I did buy a banner. Mine is a 1 foot by 8 foot banner. And I got the idea from this festival. You see the tent here? The red and white? I liked that. So I went out and got one of my own. But Vistaprint, which is a place I love to get marketing materials, they don't have 1 foot banners. I had to use fast signs. And fast signs had a $50 minimum, but I could have any length and any number of grommets that I wanted. So I went with 6 grommets for that price. And I ended up with this just super nice banner and a must in my opinion. So anyway, there you go. That's an idea too. Now, streamers. I actually loved these streamers that I saw in this video. They were so pretty. And so I went looking for streamers and guess what I found? Tableclothsfactory.com has wedding chair sashes. Can you believe it? They're $7.50 for a pack of 5. And they have about 40 different colors, but you really only need 2. And I ended up buying 4. And what I do is I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought a grommet maker and some grommets. and some paper that goes with those because that sheer is just really, really thin. So I ended up putting a grommet in one corner of each of four per front leg of my booth, as you can see here and here. And I'm telling you, and it just draws attention. So the nice thing about a white booth is you can change up the colors anytime you want. And so you can have like, all you have to do is change your tablecloth and your streamers, and you've got a whole new booth. Okay. Like I said, I told you where I bought the grommet gun. Oh, I do zip tie four of them together, one for each side of the front. And I hang them on an S hook up inside the frame of my tent, whichever one it is. Okay, so I also saw these streamers at a show and snapped a picture because, anything to, flashy to bring people to your booth. And I thought that they really added some color and they looked fun and they looked easy to make. Now, my small tent has no sides. And I'll tell you, the wind in Houston was ridiculous. And the first day I had no cover, no protection. And so I had like all these stones holding my cards down. So I went in search of a side and I found one at Walmart in the camping section for, what is it, $15? And do I have a name for them? It's a Ozark Trail sun wall for a 10 by 10 straight leg tent canopy for camping. Okay, so I'm going to have a link down below for that. But unfortunately, I couldn't find one in white or in the color I wanted. So it comes in gray and that's it. But man, did it make a difference. I bought one and I really, really wish I would have purchased two. So for the price of these things, make sure you get more than one. Now, let me talk to you real quickly about leg weights. You have to have leg weights. If you are on grass, most tents come with spikes that you can spike down and tie your tent down. Most of the time, you're going to be in a parking lot on a street somewhere or sidewalk, or you're going to be in a mall, or you're going to be inside in a show. And well, that doesn't matter. It just doesn't for weights. But when you're outside, you need to ensure that your booth is going to stay in one place. And the last thing that you want is to have a wind come up and damage your own tent or things inside your tent. But more importantly, you do not want your tent to blow across the aisle and roll into somebody else's booth that happens to be selling glass merchandise, because you will fully be responsible for any damage you do to somebody else's. So don't cheap out on the weights. Now, here are the weights that I got I had a neighbor make. I went to a festival once and just snapped weights. I wanted to see what people were using. I mean, everything from cinder blocks and stuff filled with sand and dirt that I didn't want in my car. I ended up seeing these. They are 4-inch PVC pipe with the end caps and glue to hold the end caps on, and an eyeball at one end, and with a nut and cement. And my neighbor made these and they're wonderful. And they cost me $20 a piece for him to make those. So I have 8. It wasn't cheap, but I really like them and they don't damage my car. But when we got to Houston and I had to buy that canopy, of course, I had no weight, so I had to go buy some. But I couldn't get anything really heavy. And luckily, I found on Amazon, I found water bag weights at Walmart for $45 for a set of 4. But I got mine on Amazon. So shop around because I think mine ended up being like, 34 or something. But they're great. They collapse down and go in a bag and they weigh nothing and they fit anywhere. And then when I would be doing a show, I would fill 4 of them up at the campground, set them on the floorboard in the back seat of my car, and I would, cart them to the event. And they Velcro to each leg. They're about 22 pounds a piece when full. And at the end of the show, I would simply open them up and knock them over while I'm taking my booth apart. And I could just pack them back in that bag and stick them in the car and off I went. So they were totally lightweight and easy to carry. And I really am glad that I got those. Now, I want you to know I did add from Walmart, 20 bucks. I did add 4 more disc tent weights because the event that I was at required 30 pounds and I had 22, and these things were 10 pounds a piece. So that's 32. So that was it. That gave me what I needed. Okay. So for tables, I bought all kinds of tables, collapsible. I have 2 4-foot welcome tables. I have 2 scissor tables. I have a 6-foot folding table, which I used for my larger tent where my friend and I could sit at either end, and with my little candelabra from last video in between us. And there we were. We could read and kind of not be in each other's space. But I will say this. That's overkill. And I don't use them all. So 1 4-foot folding table and 1 scissor table you can use for your indoor booth, your outdoor booth. You don't need a replacement. Finally, I do have a sandwich board sign. It was the very first thing I ever purchased before I knew what the heck I was doing. Had I known that, I probably wouldn't have done it. But I do use that sign at every outdoor event right in front of my booth. It kind of right in the way to stop people, run into my booth. I don't have any pricing on it. I actually have these little laminated cards that I stick on top in the, where it joins, and it has my price on that. And I paid $250 for this thing. I got it at vistaprint.com. It came with 2 inserts that were basically rolled up, laminated paper. I got way better inserts at Fast Signs. They're plastic corrugated signs, and I can pull them out, turn them around, and put them back in for storage so that they don't get dirty. They don't get, puncture holes from shipping, moving them around in the car. So they get pretty protected. But it's $60 for 2 of them, and I just think it's well worth it for street fairs and mall events, sidewalk events, and grape stomps, indoor stuff, even if you want to. So they're pretty good. You can pick up smaller, less quality versions of these at Hobby Lobby. So, for example, maybe a much smaller chalkboard, double-sided chalkboard sandwich board sign, and other things that you can get from Hobby Lobby. Just kind of look around. If you're going to Google 2-sided standing signs or sandwich board signs or double-sided chalkboard stand. That's what you would search for. If you do get one, either a printed one or a chalkboard type, whatever, or even a lightweight wooden sign, you could do away with those and just hang maybe like a big decorative chalkboard that you can get at Hobby Lobby from one side of the front of your booth frame that has whatever information you want on it, probably tarot readings and the amount. And then you could probably do away with even that front table, at which point in time, I would end up using a 36-inch round table right smack in the middle of your booth with nothing else around it except for maybe the mandalas that you put up on the outside of your tent. I ran a lab right here, but I will highly recommend a checklist, especially for outdoor, and an extras box, a small extra, just a small one that you can carry in the floorboard of your car, just in case. And I'm talking about things for like bungee cords and zip ties and scissors to cut zip ties and any extra stuff that you might need. If you use little tea lights to light it up, battery operated ones, have a couple extra boxes just in case, they go out, that kind of thing. And I would print it off every time. Here's what mine looks like. And I have this on my computer, and I print it off for absolutely every single event, even though I go through and then I grab this list and just check everything off to make sure I didn't forget anything. I don't care how long you've been doing this. It's too easy to forget something. It's too easy to have something run out in your bag, and then you get to the event and, oh my God, you don't have any left. So I use it every single time, indoor or outdoor. And it's really good not to count on your memory. One time I forgot my square. Another time, I put in one of the earlier videos, I forgot my clothes. I hung them by the front door and I ended up going out the garage door. So things like that. In the middle of the night, I'm out there buying, something to wear for the event the next day. My initial cost of that sandwich board sign, or no, let me put it this way. Without the sandwich board sign, the initial cost of my big booth was $750. $1,000 with the sign for everything that you're seeing in my booth. And you're probably going to spend about $300 total for the indoor booth or the smaller tent set. But you're going to pay for it in the first one or two events. So it's all right. And besides, consider these purchases a call to the universe. Because as soon as you buy all this stuff and you get it all set up and you get it ready to go, events are going to just get in your face. They're just going to pop up. They're going to show up. The universe will send you in the right direction. And you'll find things that you like craft shows, winery grape stomps, street festivals, outdoor craft shows, art festivals, any of that kind of stuff. So that's what I have for you today. Next video, I'm going to attack the administrative end of fairs and festivals. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. It's actually fairly small because I'm not going to get too thick in the weeds in that. I'm just going to give you the basics that I think are the most important. Now, please like this video, if you will. That is how other people will find me. And I would love to have you subscribe. I've got more videos coming after this series. And I've got some really interesting things for this series, like how to grow your clientele at the fairs and festivals and how much to charge. Those are the next two coming up after my administrative piece. All right, then have a great rest of your day. Talk to you in the next video.